Welcome back to Happy Bake Day. My name is Amanda and today we are going to be making a recipe perfect for the father or father figures in your life to celebrate Father's Day. We're going to be making a maple whiskey glazed trout. Of course, I couldn't do this without my friends over at Marine Harvest by Moe. Today we're going to be using their steelhead trout portions in today's recipe. The trout is such a beautiful fish. It's loaded with protein, it's got a really light flavor, and it's going to complement our maple whiskey glaze so beautifully. For the first step, I have a half a cup of roughly chopped pecans, and I'm going to spread them here on my baking tray. My baking tray is lined with parchment paper so that my pecans will cook without getting too stuck to my pan. I'm just gonna spread them here in a single layer, and then we're going to bake them in my oven. It's already been preheated to 400 degrees. I'm going to cook these in my oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'll stir them halfway through, and I'll know they're done when they are lightly toasted and have become beautifully fragrant. While our pecans are toasting in the oven, I have taken my trout portions out of the packaging and I'm placing them skin side down in a baking dish that's been very generously greased with some olive oil. The olive oil will help keep the fish from sticking too tightly to the bottom of the pan. And I'm just going to snugly nestle my fillets right on in here. Perfect. So that way they're all here, and then the dish will help keep any of our maple whiskey glaze contained within the dish itself. You'll sprinkle your fillets with 1 teaspoon of salt. Spread it evenly across all of your fillets, as well as a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. The seasoning will really help give the fish some of that great, delicious flavor. Especially, it'll help bring out additional flavors from our glaze. As you can see, I have moved over to my stove and I have a small saucepan on the top, and we are going to be making our maple whiskey glaze, which is going to be epic. I have here 3 tablespoons of very dark maple syrup. I'm going to put it right into my saucepan. And then once my maple syrup is in, I have as well 2 tablespoons of bourbon whiskey, pouring it right in. I have 1 tablespoon of whole grain Dijon mustard. In it goes. I also have 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter. It's still cold and that's fine. It'll melt as soon as we start mixing it in. 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, which will be really beautiful here, especially with the maple syrup. I have half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. And that little bit of heat will be so nice with the bourbon and of course with the maple syrup. I'm going to heat this up over medium heat. And I have a whisk, so I'm going to whisk this together. I'm not going to stir it constantly. I'll stir it occasionally for the next 3 to 4 minutes. And I want my glaze to be just ever so slightly thickened, and it'll be really glossy, and then I'll know it's done and I'll remove it from the heat. My glaze is thickened, it is glossy. So my last step is to add just a teeny pinch of some flaky salt. I'm gonna give it one last mix here on my stove with my whisk. Then we're gonna turn off the heat and we're gonna set this over by our fish to top. I have my trout here in my baking dish, and of course our delicious glaze is ready. I've got a spoon and we're going to spoon half, so not all of it, but half of our glaze generously over our fish. We only want to use half of it now because about halfway through the bake time, we will use the remaining glaze at that point, and that way these get sweet and sticky and really flavorful. I'm just going to use the back of my spoon just to kind of help spread out my glaze evenly over my fish. One more spoonful, I think. And again, we put it in a baking dish. I like this better than a baking tray because this way all of my glaze does stay here in my dish. And the skin, if you want to eat the skin of your fish after baking, will also get a lot of that beautiful glaze flavor. Now that my fish is ready, it's gonna go right into the oven. My oven is still on and preheated to 400 degrees. So I'm going to bake this for 10 minutes, pull it out, top with my remaining glaze, and then it'll bake for another 8 to 12 minutes or until the fish is fully cooked through. And with that, our maple whiskey trout is done and beautiful. You can see I have served mine here with some mashed sweet potatoes as well as a hearty piece of cornbread that I also made. You can check out my cornbread recipe on my website. And I really think this completes the dish so well and complements our fish. I love how the maple bourbon glaze really is so aromatic and really gives a great flavor to our fish. As you can see, I did top my fish with just a little bit of those toasted pecans from earlier. It'll give some nice savory crunch, a little bit of a buttery feel to it, and it will be absolutely delicious when you eat it all together. Now, you don't have to serve yours with sweet potatoes or cornbread. I just think it really helps complete the whole dish. You can serve, of course, with maybe some roasted Brussels sprouts or some rice, or really however you like to complete your meal. Of course, I couldn't do this without my friends over at Marine Harvest by Moe, and we used their steelhead trout fillets today in this recipe. The fillets baked so beautifully. They turned out really, really tender and flaky in our oven. And I like that they really just take on that great flavor from our glaze, making this such an easy fish to work with. Thank you so much for joining me today and making our maple whiskey glazed fish to celebrate the dads and the dad figures in your life for this upcoming Father's Day. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and give Marine Harvest by Moe a check out on their website to see where you can get this trout yourself and give the recipe a try. Until next time, I hope you have a very happy bake day.